Pokemon Home is going to change the game. And I mean that in a very serious way, because the hidden abilities that will become available will alter, if not define, the metagame, and there could potentially be a few new Pokemon being added into competitive as well, because we have the Kanto starters and the Alola starters already inside the game data for Pokemon Sword and Shield and usable through data mining and hacking. So if Game Freak just says, yeah, you get to use them, those are also going to be some pretty impactful Pokemon. So if you end up enjoying the video, don't forget to leave a like and share it with your friends so they know what's up when Pokemon Home drops. We still don't have a date. It's still unclear if the Pokemon Company is going to announce it a little bit beforehand, or one day you wake up and Pokemon Home is available. It's going to be interesting like that. Now, this video is not going to cover all of the hidden abilities that are becoming available, because some of them don't really matter too much, but then there's some pretty crazy ones that a lot of people are looking forward to, like Friend Guard on Clefairy. And the reason being, like, this was already viable in other doubles metagames once Clefairy got the Friend Guard ability, because you have Follow Me, and if you're not using Follow Me, you are reducing damage for your allied Pokemon. And now that we have Dynamax, now that there's like a lot of crazy setup and stuff going on, this could just be the next Togekiss. That people are already running Togekiss in DD. There's also Clefable being used for Follow Me. Once Clefairy becomes available with that Friend Guard, it also becomes a very viable option. Especially, there's probably going to be some kind of crazy damage calculations as well, since Stalwart does bypass Friend Guard, and there are some other, like, Follow Me aversion going on in the metagame, and then it has Life Dew. So it can heal itself, because it's really tanky with Eviolite. It can just top off an ally after taking a serious hit, and then things get pretty crazy from there. It also has some other supportive qualities, so Clefairy is always relevant in doubles as long as it has its hidden ability. What this means is that Clefable also gets its hidden ability, and Unaware in singles is something that appears everywhere, because, especially right now, I don't know how crazy it's going to get in Pokemon Sword and Shield, because there's a lot of things that are making Unaware Clefable even stronger. The removal of Toxic as a TM, and from most Pokemon movesets, mean that Clefable isn't going to get Toxic stalled, and it's going to survive forever with the Moonlight. Unless there's a Toxapex, but even then, Toxapex isn't that common. Other forms of Toxic aren't that common. But you know what's really common? Setup right now. A lot of Pokemon, they're using that Dynamax. They're trying to get a lot of stats. They're snowballing through various means like Weakness Policy, Dragon Dance, Swords Dance, Calm Mind. Clefable hits the field, and it doesn't matter. It's gotten so bad that Quagsire has significant usage on the Battle Stadium, but Clefable is just a better Pokemon. Like, that Flamethrower Moonblast coverage is insane. It has just natural damage coming in with that Calm Mind, has a little bit of sustain. We're not going to see like the soft-boiled shenanigans, because that's transfer and you can't use transfer in ranked battles, but still, this is going to be something else. Also, soft-boiled can't have the hidden ability because that's like Gen 3 and stuff. Either way, this is going to be wacky, and I've already dominated Generation 7 with Clefable, and I feel like it's going to be even stronger in Generation 8. If that means the game gets unfun because everyone's running Clefable, that's a possibility as well. I think that means we might see more Stall come back into play, because Stall is getting like heavily bullied out of the meta through just insane amounts of taunt. Clefable is still taunt bait, but it can actually like do something even if it's taunted, and then like, you know, you switch it out, you bring it back in later, and it's going to make the game pretty crazy. But it's also like one of the few Pokemon that has Moonblast. Like, Game Freak introduced Moonblast. It seemed to be too powerful, and now almost like no new Pokemon get it. So, you know, Fire plus Fairy comboing, really strong, has Stab, picks off Steel-type Pokemon, and anyone that's used it knows how good it is, and we're about to have it in a very setup-heavy metagame. Meowstic is also about to get Prankster, so the weird comparison here is like Meowstic versus Grimmsnarl. So I'm just going to go and pull up Grimmsnarl here really quick. It's effectively like Grimmsnarl is a higher damage Meowstic. Meowstic is slightly tankier, but also has like less hit points. I think they're about like even on tankiness. Meowstic is innately faster and has like different tools to use. So effectively, like, now we're just gonna have two different screen setters, and you get to pick depending on your typing. Do you like Dark Fairy more? Do you like Psychic more? And what's that third move going to be? Because you can have Fake Out on both of them, Fake Out, Light Screen Reflect, Light Clay, and then the last move is going to be up to you. Meowstic can bring something like the Safeguard, So if there's a lot of sleep running around, that's something that you can worry about, but we don't have Safeguard on the Grimmsnarl. However, being a Dark type Pokemon, Grimmsnarl can carry the Taunt, and then there's Spirit Break in case you don't want to run a Force status moveset, which can be exploited. Not as much in doubles though. There's not a lot of Taunt in doubles, but again, I don't know if like all of these new Pokemon coming in might just alter the meta to where there's going to be more Taunt in singles and doubles to kind of counteract all the power that we're seeing. But yeah, Meowstic is going to be available. Liepard. This is going to be an interesting one as well, because Liepard is going to be the fastest prankster copycat. Actually, just like the fastest copycat. And as we've seen through Riolu, there is the copycat protect. Well, actually, okay, so what you do is you Dynamax, you max move your Trick Room, and you can copycat the Trick Room with priority. So Liepard, if you give it a Choice Scarf, will be the fastest +1 in the game, since Whimsicott won't be able to catch up to it at that point, and you will guarantee yourself a Trick Room with this setup. And it also has a lot of prankster utility that isn't really going to care about Trick Room, but if you are scarfing it, it pretty much just means like you're sacrificing a Pokemon to then guarantee a Trick Room, even though there's already a lot of guaranteed Trick Room, but it opens up for a lot of weird stuff. Even in general, like you just have Liepard, Fake Out, it has a very fast prankster charm, it also provides a lot of other things like Encore, Thunder Wave, so if you're not using Trick Room, you can still prankster Thunder Wave, still mess people up, taunt, all that other fun stuff. So yeah, it's just like a fast prankster Pokemon that finds relevance and likes messing with people, and at any time, you might have to worry about that copycat. Like if you don't bring Whimsicott, this thing can just go and set up a Trick Room under priority, and then things get really scary. Like, the metagame for Generation 8 is so weird, I'm not going to write off any strategy because I feel like I've seen everything at this point, and the metagame changes every day, and some unbelievable strategies are being used to success. Like, someone's going to run Scarf, Copycat, Liepard on the Trick Room, and they're going to find a way to absolutely break the game on it. I have no doubt. This reminds me kind of like Generation 5, back when people didn't really understand how to stop the Fear Aeron, and I believe that was also when you could Copycat your own Circle Throw on Prankster Riolu, and you would make it to where the opponent just would never be able to act, and then they had to change that for Generation 6. Like, I believe there was a point in time when that was actually usable, because oopsie on the Game Freak. So I think there's a couple of those things hiding in Generation 8 now, with all the new interactions, with all the new Pokemon, or just how weird the metagame is. Swoobat will also get its simple ability. I gotta bring this up every time I talk about simple Swoobat. Pimp Knight, confirmed hacker because he used the illegal Swoobat. It's not available yet. It's not available until Pokemon Home. It's the same thing with Stealth Rock, Skarmory. Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, shame on you, Pimp Knight. But regardless, outside of that, the reason why it's so strong is that it is a simple Pokemon. So it gets a simple ability, and what that means is all of your stat boosts are doubled. So Amnesia is going to be a +4. One usage of a move, giving you ×3 special defense. That's pretty insane. It also has a good amount of speed, so you just kind of run it like this, Timid Nature, just in case you're running some other stuff. And now it's like, yeah, it doesn't matter if you're kind of behind on your base stats like this, because you're going to get multiplicatively tanky. You can run the Roost, that way you have Sustain. You can also just kind of use it as a quick baton pass Pokemon. So take a physical hit. If it's not like a crazy, super effective physical hit, you survive. Key Berry is going to double. Use Amnesia, that's going to triple. You baton pass that, and now you have an instant tank. Also, same with Calm Mind. You can get special defense tankiness. You can get special attack. You can also run the stored power and just one-shot Pokemon all day long. It doesn't matter if you run the baton pass or not. And it also has the nasty plot. So another thing that you can see out of the Swoobat that is pretty ridiculous is Focus Sash. Whoop. That's not how you spell Focus Sash. So what you do is you Focus Sash, Nasty Plot, Baton Pass, and now you're giving a free +4 special attack to any Pokemon that you want. That also gets scary, and like I said, you have Roost here for the Sustain. There's a few other things you can do to really mess with your opponent, but that's going to become available, and it also has Simple Beam, so maybe I'll see it like once in doubles, where someone like Simple Beams an ally, and then things get even crazier. Who even knows? But Swoobat, it can cheese you at any point, and that makes the game just a bit more fun. It's been on Fan Fries a lot, because Simple is a pretty awesome ability. Next up, we have Musharna with the Telepathy. I think this is going to be huge. Musharna is a very tanky Pokemon. Trick Room is already really common, and instead of like fighting Trick Room, people are just embracing it. There's not a lot of taunt. There's not a lot of ways to try to like overwhelm the Trick Room. Even Prankster, or not Prankster, even Fake Out isn't super common. So if you have Telepathy on the Musharna, that means now you can get something like the Toxtricity, it uses Boom Burst. Musharna doesn't care, it can then Throat Spray, and then it can Boom Burst again, and now you're like two-shotting all of your opponent's Pokemon under Trick Room as things are going crazy, and Musharna can support or just be some damage even if it's running full bulk. Musharna is like, yeah, it used to be like a really common Trick Room Pokemon. I think it'll find some ways to kind of slide into the Trick Room meta. And Telepathy just opens up a lot of weird things as well, like Belly Drum Explosion Snorlax. Nothing on the opponent's side is going to survive that. Musharna gets to survive because of Telepathy. So Telepathy Trick Room is pretty cool. Or maybe you just kind of like play into the opponent's Trick Room. Like if you see the opponent with Trick Room, you bring in Musharna and then you play against their Trick Room. So you max out your, like, because of this weird hit points, I feel like something about Musharna's effort value spread is going to be like this to make it as optimal as possible, and then you run like Modest Nature, and then you just become like a Trick Room high damage sweeping Pokemon. So you just be like, okay, you're setting up Trick Room, I'm just going to Specs a Psychic and like two-shot everything and maybe one-shot some more frail Pokemon, because it can get away with that. And then it's going to be faster than that Trick Room, so you can just kind of use it to sit in there, and then you can also use other things that just kind of hit all the Pokemon and keep yourself safe with the Telepathy, because Synchronized Forewarn, kind of whatever, but this just kind of makes Musharna more optimal, so it might just slide into the meta like that. Then there's a few other Pokemon to talk about. Maractus gets the Storm Drain, and Gastrodon is very usable because of Storm Drain. Now it also has like good typing and good coverage, and it does like a lot of really weird and jank, nasty things to a lot of Pokemon in the metagame. But Maractus as an alternative Storm Drain Pokemon, that's good. I've been seeing some weird ideas because you could like Hyper Voice with the Throat Spray, get a +1, and then start one-shotting things on the Petal Blizzard. So there's talks about like what the Maractus wants to do, especially in Trick Room. Like it's in that lowish speed tier to where like other slow Trick Room Pokemon can't exploit it, but Maractus can get pretty scary, and I think we're gonna see like something Storm Drain Maractus just kind of pop up. Noivern, also with the Telepathy. I think this is going to be a pretty cool one as well. Like, Infiltrator's really big since there's a lot of sub, since there's a lot of that setup, since there's a lot of Light Screen Reflect, so being able to just bypass that and do full damage, that's really good. But Noivern in some kind of cheese Telepathy strat, like, let's do a little bit of theory crafting right here. So, Focus Sash, Telepathy, Tailwind, as long as they're not going for some kind of Trick Room strategy, you should be okay. Does get the Taunt as well. So if they're like both really slow on the opponent's side, Noivern's just naturally fast and has good damage. So you can just go for like Taunt on their Trick Room. If Noivern's fine, then you're good to go. If not, you can Tailwind, speed up everything. And this is when Toxtricity comes back into play. Boom Burst Toxtricity, not going to affect the Telepathy Noivern, and then gets Throat Spray while being under Tailwind. And now you have massive sweep Toxtricity, and then Noivern can do damage. It can either just like Draco Meteor, hard try to blow up a Pokemon, or it can also Boom Burst for itself. It's not going to be like Throat Spraying or anything. I thought Throat Spray, Boom Burst, Noivern with Infiltrator was going to be a lot more nasty in singles, but we just haven't seen it. Maybe it's an undiscovered Pokemon at this point. Maybe it's just not reliable, but with this, you know, it's got that Focus Sash. So if it doesn't get focused on turn 1, or if you just get your setup, it's got that extra hit in there. It's still doing a lot of damage. At any point, it can just kind of like press the red button and then bad things happen. The red button is the eject button, but it's not doing that. I'm just kind of saying like it can hit the nuke if it wants to. So there's also a couple other things you can run if you want to get some weird effects out of it. Air Slash, chance to flinch, good stab damage on top of that, while once again Toxtricity is just doing damage to everything. That's pretty cool. Lantern. Here is a really interesting interaction, because right now, every Lantern is going to have the Volt Absorb, because that's all they can get. Now, it is really nice to have Volt Absorb. It just kind of gets rid of a neutral hit. Water Absorb is already resisted, and Lantern is really tanky, but you can see either in singles or doubles, so now there's a little bit more of a guessing game being added in, and Lantern is shown to be really strong. Like, it just Dynamaxes, sets up a terrain or sets up rain, and then does a lot of damage while not taking any damage in return. If you get caught with your pants down, it can stockpile as well. It's a mean Pokemon. I've actually lost to Lantern a few times already because it's like, oh, damn, it's unkillable, and I can't really do anything against it. But now it's just going to get a little harder to predict, and then this opens up a lot more combos. Surf next to a Lantern means Lantern's going to be healing 25% of its health every turn, and the Surf is better than the Discharge sometimes. Discharge, less damage, 30% chance to paralyze, which is still really nice. But surf combos and surf sweeping Pokemon, you see that a lot as well. Double water absorb surf is a really cool thing, so that's a possibility. And also Volt Absorb, so now you throw out a Lantern and you don't know, or like the opponent throws out a Lantern and you don't know what to do against it. Then we have Beheeyem with the Analytic. It's interesting. 1.3 times power if it moves last in a turn. Like, this Pokemon really wants to be in a Trick Room, but at the same time, like, if it just survives a hit and then throws out an Analytic Specs boosted move, that's going to be a KO right there. Maybe it Dynamaxes and it goes for 2 KOs because it can survive 2 hits then while still being the slowest Pokemon. So I'm thinking it can be really powerful as like a sleeper Pokemon in 3v3 battle spot because, like, yeah, it just shows up at Dynamaxes and it does ridiculous things with that boosted power. Life Orb might be a little risky on it, but it's already kind of hard to one-hit KO, so that means it becomes 3-hit KO in Dynamax, and it can score 2-hit KOs in return, or 2 KOs in 2 turns in return. There's a lot of stuff to talk about, but Beheeyem is potentially relevant. And as for the other Pokemon on the list, we can just kind of go down it. Female Meowstic, never really that usable. Lightning Rod Seaking, it's a meme. I think it was on Fan Fridays once or twice. Tinted Lens, never really saw that out of the Noctowl. Sturdy, you're trying to play Bulk Avalugg anyways. Soundproof, you want Blizzard. Flare Boost, you want Unburden. Mold Breaker, Mold Breaker, like, it does cool things, but these Pokemon aren't super common anyways. Speed Boost is better than Infiltrator. Rivalry doesn't really get that much usage. Minus, I guess. Rattled actually kind of got buffed in Generation 8 in an interesting way, but I don't think like Rattled Sudowoodo is going to do anything. So Rattled made it to where it activates off Intimidate now, but you get +1 speed on a Sudowoodo. Not going to do anything for you. Poison Touch is interesting. Shell Armor, maybe in like bulk anti-crit yawn strats on the Torkoal, you might see a Shell Armor because you can still play like a stall weird anti-stall clear smog Shell Armor yawn Torkoal. Or maybe if you're already setting Sun off of like some kind of Dynamax move, Shell Armor could be something that's nice. Pickpocket, I don't like it as much as Tough Claws. Heavy Metal, I prefer that you can get like a resistance or an immunity. Rain Dish, Keen Eye, Hydration. Not really too much extra stuff going on here because Pokemon just aren't really that used anyways, or the primary ability is better. Like Shell Armor over Drought, meh. Rain Dish over Drizzle, because like that was what made Pelipper viable when it had the rain setting ability. It had it in Generation 7. So yeah, it was mostly just like that top row. That top row is dank. Also the Swift Swim on Beware, or not Beware. Also, the Swift Swim on Beartic, I think that's worth some respect. We might see some really cool Swift Swim Beartic sweeps because Dynamax makes that just so accessible. No Guard on Golurk, in theory, it feels like it should work, but you never really like find that No Guard Golurk really take off, and that's kind of it. I really do think that's all going to be like Clefable evolutionary line and then extra Prankster being added in, but then some cheekiness that you got to be aware of. So yeah, things are about to get a bit more interesting. I like how there's also some responses to the meta, like Unaware Clefable is desperately needed until it becomes like one of the most used Pokemon in the entire game. Or maybe it doesn't get overused and I still sweep with it. That'd be pretty cool as well. Either way, hope you guys enjoy the video. Hope you all have a nice day. Thank you very much for watching.